Hi, everyone. It's Kelly from the Hub. Here today, of course, with our friend Pastor Jim from Bergstrasse. How are you there, friend?
Good morning. I'm well. It's a good day.
It is a good day.
It's still early, but it's a good day. And we are in the month of December.
Woody, woot, woot, woot.
Oh, we thought this year would never come to an end.
It still
But
may not.
well, this is true. This is true. But at least on the calendar, the end is on sight.
That's true. Happy post-Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes.
Yep. So in light of the post-Thanksgiving, we wanted to chat about family, talk about how Thanksgiving was or wasn't for people who were out there, and how it was for us and what we sort of realized about some things. I have family in Cleveland. My side of the family lives in Cleveland. So because of COVID, I haven't seen them since last Christmas. And I did two different Zoom calls. My parents are divorced, so I did two separate Zoom calls to make sure I got both sides of my family together. And then we also did a Zoom call with my husband's family. So that was, I was prepping dinner, doing 3 Zoom calls, and people were like, but I want to talk to you. And I'm like, who's gonna make the cranberry sauce? So
It's time to do the gravy.
Right, I'm like, can we pause? I want to make mashed potatoes. So it was definitely a funky time. It was funky.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't eat with my family. I know that some people talked about that. We didn't eat together. We just chatted.
You just chatted on the Zoom. You didn't actually eat while you were on
Correct.
Zoom.
Yeah. Like some people were going to dine together. For me, that's a lot of, it's too much.
That's really making sure you get the right view to make sure the computer's at the right spot, because you're going to miss somebody, because at least I know if my family would have been around the table, it would have been long. And how do you get 25 people in one shot?
Well, and how can all of those families plan their dinners down to the moment that we can all eat together? Unless you're having Wawa gobblers. I mean, that's the only...
Or having it delivered in.
Right. So yeah, that was how we did it. And I will also say this. It's always my personal goal to get the biggest turkey I can find, because I think it's funny. And
Okay.
I think it's very funny to get a 29-pound turkey for 2 people. But because I'm doing grocery pickup, they only had 13 pounders at the...
No, and you didn't get 2?
No, I only had 2 nights of leftovers, and I'm feeling really I'm feeling down, because I usually make stock and I do a couple of leftover things, but I could only make 1 leftover thing because I only had 13 pounds of turkey. So I know that the viewers are going to be really grouchy about that and probably make a lot of fun of me, but that's okay. I can take it.
I'm just going to make fun of you because oh my gosh, a nearly 30-pound turkey for 2 people?
I do it every year. Because we usually don't travel for Thanksgiving. We might see my husband's family, depending on what they're doing, if they're seeing other people or whatever. But if it's just the 2 of us, I get the biggest turkey I can find. I get the turkey that almost doesn't fit in the oven. That it has to go on the bottom rack, and you have to take all the other racks out. Yeah, and you're like, whoa. And you're nervous if it's going to fit in the pan. That's the turkey I get.
So that is so cool. So Thanksgiving was very different for me too.
Yeah, how was it? What did you do? Who did you see? Did you see people?
So I did. I actually got to spend Thanksgiving Day with my parents.
And you've been seeing them the whole time, and you sort of know their routine, and they also live close-ish to you.
They're close enough. They're within an hour drive of where I am. So it's not bad. It's not distance, except I forget though that it takes me almost an hour to get there, so it's no longer just, hop in the shower quick, change clothes, and be there in 10 minutes. Oh no, I need to plan. And that was the hardest thing for me to do this year. It's like, oh, it's 10 o'clock already. I gotta be getting ready to go.
Right. You got to help your mom with the stuffing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it was actually just the three of us. And normally for the past, I don't know, 10-ish years or more, I've usually tried to have Thanksgiving at my house with either my sons coming in or whatever, but that hasn't really been regular either because we've all been all over the place for Thanksgiving. Literally just kind of like scattered in how do we come together. And this year was a little bit harder just because of COVID and wanting to be safe. I mean, and even my parents, usually they're with one of my brothers and there's usually 15, 20 people, and chose not to this year. But anyway, but my mother said, if you can come over, why don't you come over Thanksgiving? But you got to bring the oyster stuffing. Who knew? I discovered 15 years ago that oyster stuffing was a family favorite that my dad loves and hadn't had it in years because my mother doesn't care for oysters. I do.
But
so we had oyster stuffing.
So your family has your family always lived in like central Pennsylvania?
Oh yes.
How do oysters show up there? I understand it if you live like on the coast of Massachusetts or whatever, that oysters are a part of your life. Like, how do oysters show up in central Pennsylvania? They just did.
You buy them at the grocery store?
And that's a family tradition that you have.
It's a family tradition, and I have to tell you, this is the first year I actually followed a recipe, and I got my recipe out of a Pennsylvania Dutch cookbook.
Well, thank goodness.
Literally, and it said oyster stuffing.
Wow.
Other years I just kind of like threw it together, but this time I thought, well, maybe I should check a recipe, and I knew it anyway. But yeah.
So how did it turn out? Was it good?
Good. It lasted, Thanksgiving, and then we each had another portion later on, or at least I did. So
did your mom eat it?
Well, yes.
Oh, well, see, because here's the thing. With its stuffing, you can't really tell if it's oysters in there. Oh, this woman she has since passed. She used to make stuffing with some of those nasty parts of, I'm sorry, I don't like innards. It's just not my thing.
Gizzards.
Yeah, but it was like, the way she made it, it was like there was like little erasers in the stuffing.
Oh, yeah, no. That stuff you have to grind up pulp so that it just goes in. You can't pick it out.
She just chopped it, so it was like little pencil erasers. It was so gross. I felt terrible. That's all right.
Actually, I did not grind the oysters or mix them in. I actually layered it in. There was a bed of bread filling, and then there was the oysters, and then I covered them with more bread filling. So you could actually find them. And when my mother found a piece, she goes, "Here, honey, you eat this."
See, there's still a lovely couple.
Yes.
That's nice. Yeah, I don't like oysters at all.
Well, I usually eat them fried when they're breaded. That's good. But I will eat them in with the stuffing because there's other stuff around them. So.
Yeah. But can you taste them in the stuffing? You can actually taste them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't taste like snot? Sorry, for those of you who like oyster stuffing, I'm not making fun of you. I know I can say that to Pastor Jim. Oh.
So anyway, I'm expecting there's just 3 of us for dinner,
Right,
so.
Right.
Who would have thought, But my mother still made enough meal for 15.
Because that's her mode. She goes into Thanksgiving mode and she's like, 74 potatoes. Okay, check. Yeah.
And I need to have leftovers.
Of course.
I need to have leftovers. And I need to have real potatoes, mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
It was like, and although I kind of made fun, my mother already knows that with, 4 sons, we all tease her all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but she knew that it was all out of love to do that. So there we were, an 8-pound turkey breast for my mother, my father, and I.
Barely enough.
Mashed potatoes to serve 15.
That's fantastic.
I had oyster stuffing, but she also had other stuffing.
Of course.
And we had baked corn. She tried a new baked corn recipe.
Wait, like corn casserole?
Uh,
Is it dried corn or is it like creamed corn?
no, this was a dried corn recipe that she actually found that she wanted to try.
Like Copes, which I've never had, but my students used to always talk about it.
I don't know what brand it was.
Is it wheat?
But here's what I know. The package said serve 6, but she used 2 of them.
For the 3 of you. But you had leftovers.
We had leftovers. Oh, and in the other part, I have to admit, she said I made peas because I know they're your favorite. Yay, Mom.
See? Moms are the best no matter how old you are because they get it. They understand the stuff. I just learned my mom doesn't like green beans when we were Zooming, which I didn't know. We were Zooming and my brother was cooking doing prep work behind her, and he was getting Brussels sprouts ready, which we never had as children, which is a whole other conversation. And now she sort of likes them. But we were talking about it and I said, oh, she's like, well, what are you having? She goes, are you doing green bean casserole? And I said, we've canceled it for a couple of years. We may revisit it, but we've canceled it. And I said, but I do get nostalgic about the green beans. And she goes, ugh. And I was like, what? I learned that she doesn't really like green beans.
So this was funny. So when I walked in on Thursday, my mother says, we're not going to have the green bean casserole this year. And she said it with sort of a sad face because she was making peas for me. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, I prefer peas over green beans. She goes, oh no, we can't have Thanksgiving dinner without green beans.
So we did not have too.
Nope, we did not. We did not. So I imagine they're going to show up sometime within the next couple weeks. What's November or December without green bean casserole?
So I also made Ambrosia salad because that's a family tradition. So for those and apparently this is a Southern thing, which I didn't know. But my gram always made it. That's the stuff that, use the word salad loosely. That's that old, right? That old, like 30s, 40s, 50s recipe. Mandarin oranges, pineapple, maraschino cherries, mini marshmallows, and then you make like a little sweet sour cream sauce. So I like it with coconut, but some of our family doesn't like coconut, so we never had it that way. So now that it's just my husband and I, coconut. I get super excited about it, and I put in probably a little too much coconut. But then my gram would always put in an extra jar of maraschino cherries because she knew that was our favorite. So I only make it once a year, Ambrosia salad.
So a couple family traditions for us with our Thanksgiving meal is it's got to be fresh fruit salad. In other words,
really?
My mother or her aunt would go and get fresh fruits.
Yeah.
And fresh fruit salad. Well, this year my father says it's just going to be 3 of us. Just get a can of fruit cocktail.
That's not the same.
But you know what happened? They got the can of fruit cocktail, actually probably 2 cans, and they added mandarin oranges and a fresh apple to it. And it was actually pretty good.
That's nice.
It was just a little bit of a shift.
Yeah.
And so Kelly, here, I got a question for you because this is one that's for me.
Okay.
Turkey dinner, whether it's Thanksgiving Day or any other day, is it cranberry sauce or cranberry relish?
Okay. This is always a bone of contention in most families.
Yeah, exactly.
Growing up, it was only Ocean Spray jelly in the shape of the can sliced, which I found disgusting. So I never ate it. As an adult, which is weird, I think I'm just showing my little self. I thought that was so like, seriously, Mom, it's in the shape of the can. I think I was just being a little arrogant about that. So as an adult, I was like, cranberry has to be better because I like cranberry things.
Mhm.
So I always make my own homemade cranberry sauce that I really like. Chunky. Like, and also not too sweet. I don't like it too sweet.
Yes.
So I call it cranberry sauce. I don't like, some people have it more raw than cooked, and it is more like relish. It's like minced up and nuts in it. No, that's I think we're fighting. No, that's a no. That's a no.
So growing up like you,
Yeah,
I always thought that can of cranberry sauce was the only thing you could do. Then
right.
one year, my grandmother introduced me to cranberry relish.
It's not that cooked, is it?
No, but it was like diced cranberries and maybe a little bit of celery and nuts and mandarin oranges.
Celery?
Yes, come on.
That's crazy talk. See, this is
We're
why
gonna make a duchy out of you yet.
I know. This is why this conversation is always the funnest, because the traditions in every family are so unique and so cool and so fun.
So this year, my mother had both.
She had the cranberry relish and she cut up the can of ocean spray. Wow.
So we had the can of open spray out, and my aunt had said, well, I'm going to make some cranberry relish. I'll give you some too. So there was that was on the table. Do you know what we all ate?
The stuff from the can.
The relish.
Okay. So I don't like the leftover day after sandwich where you put the stuff together, but I think that's the best way to use the sliced stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So my husband loves that, and he likes it with like regular white bread, mayonnaise, turkey, cranberry in the middle, and stuffing. That's his little sandwich.
Just go get a gobbler at Wawa.
Well, okay, so we didn't want to go out because,
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I made him, so the day after Thanksgiving, he had 2 of those. That was his dinner. He had turkey
Wow.
sandwich with the cranberry sauce. And I was like, you're really cool.
With a side dish of mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes?
Okay, so I made too many mashed potatoes, which you should always do.
You never make too many mashed potatoes.
Yeah. And then we had bacon the day after Thanksgiving morning. So I always save the bacon grease because you have to, because your mom said. And so I reheated the mashed potatoes in the pan with the little bacon fat on the bottom, and they were crispy on the bottom. They were so delicious. Yeah. I know everybody's like, ooh, good idea. I know it is.
That one.
And you don't have to it's not like it's like super like a potato pancake. It really isn't. It's really still like mashed potatoes, but a little crispiness on the bottom with a little bit of that bacon in there. Wazza-bazing. It's good.
A new tradition.
I was going to say. So was it good? Was it good or was it weird this year? Like overall, was it good?
It was a nice weird.
Yeah, I think that was how it was for us too. It was a nice weird.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was different, but I also have to say too, for me, because I don't usually get to spend a lot of time with my parents face to face, it was actually good to be able to do that and just sit around and talk. And in fact, it was near the end of the day and near the end of our time together, and my mother reminded me of a Thanksgiving story in our family it's really funny.
Tell it.
Because it happened to my house. It happened when I was hosting Thanksgiving dinner, and I think it was probably about 4 years ago, maybe 5. I'm not sure. But it was when I lived in the Philadelphia area in the suburbs, and I know at least one of my sons was there. I'm not sure if my other son was there or not, but my one son was there, and mom and dad, and I'm not sure if it was 1 or 2 granddaughters again. I forget what year it was, where they were. But anyway, there we were making dinner. I prepared everything. We had the 15-pound turkey for however many.
Clearly not enough.
Mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, filling, oyster stuffing, all of that. And, we're grinding or peeling the potatoes into the sink because we have a garbage disposal, just do all of that kind of stuff. And, meal went and all that. Comes time to do the dishes. We can't drain water down the sink. The dishwasher won't run. It won't, whatever. Do you know those potato peels that went in the garbage disposal?
Oh, no.
So my mother and my daughter-in-law literally did the dishes in the bathtub that Thanksgiving.
Oh, no.
And I know it was I mean, we can laugh about it now, but that day it was like, oh my gosh.
Right. But you know what? Now that is a fantastic family story that you will always have forever and ever. Remember the time that, yeah.
Well, and it's funny because we had just talked to my son and daughter-in-law that were there at least to experience that part of it. And after we hung up, it was like, oh, I forgot to talk about the time we did the dishes in the tub.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, but that's what family is. I mean, family is time to be able to share those fun times, but it's also the time that we need to realize some seriousness too about our families. And
yeah.
And this particular Thanksgiving was difficult, I imagine, for every family.
Yeah.
Because those old things that we used to do didn't happen in the same way.
Right.
Some of them may have been similar, but it just wasn't the same.
Right. And, you and I are both fortunate to be able to have internet, to be able to do those kinds of things. So even if you couldn't have been with your family, you could have done this version with them. But if you didn't have that ability, or you didn't have that access, that just makes it much more difficult. Yeah. I mean, holidays can be difficult anyway for all of those other reasons.
Absolutely.
But yeah. And so I'm super thankful that I was able to, I'm super sad that I didn't get to see them and hug them and do all that stuff, but I'm glad I was able to at least see them.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. But you know what? The awesome part is that as much as that part sucked, and even if it was just a phone call, because actually, truth be told, it took 20 minutes for my mom and I to get on the Zoom, and which she calls it the Zoom. She's adorable. But it was, it was a bit of a challenge. So we ended up doing it on our phone rather than doing it on Zoom. But even if we just could have just talked to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think one of the things that this year, at least for Thanksgiving, I know for me, and maybe it was for many of you, our viewers, and maybe also for you, Kelly, is that the importance, it's not about the turkey. It's not about the 30-pound turkey that we search out for.
Right.
It's not about how many mashed potatoes we make, or we do or don't make the green bean casserole, or have your favorite dessert, whatever. It's really about being together.
Yeah.
And this year, even though we were all challenged in some ways to figure that out, I think that's one of the things that I want to lift up, that even this time of Thanksgiving, this times of gratefulness, there's really a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Even though it is a challenging time for all of us to be living through, I'm grateful to be here. Yeah. I'm grateful to be alive. And you know what? We're going to figure this out together.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can. We're doing it as we speak. Yeah. 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 Thank you. This was fun. It was fun to be able to do this, and I hope that it was fun for everybody to watch and to hear and to have your own little giggly moments and your own little I remember little moments.
So because this is the marketer in me,
Yeah.
you our viewers, I know I do this all the time. No, I want to encourage you that in the comments down below, I want you to put sort of your favorite Thanksgiving memory.
Yeah.
And whether it was this year or last year or 50 years ago, we're never going to know.
Yeah.
But when your family has Thanksgiving, what's the story you tell around the table with everybody?
And even if you just say 3 or 4 words, because you don't have to tell us the whole story. You could just say 3 or 4 things, and then sharing that is the funnest part, because then people are like, really? Bathtub dishes? Like, that's hilarious.
That's how we find out that we're all so interconnected and so all alike. We don't even know it.
Right. We think we're all so different, but we're all the same. We all have that family member. We've all had some animal eat some part of our meal, right? It always happens. Oh, this was glorious. Happy post-Thanksgiving and welcome to December, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.